blazing continent, Serial 2. There were other Americans who fought for the great humane principles. In 1936, I filmed them with the Lincoln Battalion near Madrid. They fought against fascism for lofty principles. It was there that I filmed Hemingway, who said several years later that the Lincoln Battalion had held the Jarama Hills for 4.5 months, and the first Americans who had fallen there have long ago become part of Spanish soil. He said that those who became a worthy part of it, and who is more worthy than a soldier who has given his life for Spain, have won immortality.
Symbolically return all Vietnam.
And this is present-day Washington.
Given me by the power structure that has genocidal policies against non-white people.
Young Americans are throwing the medals and decorations they received in Vietnam on the steps of Capitol Hill. Who knows what they received the medals for? Medals that are now gnawing at their conscience. And who knows what made them see the light? Apparently, no one will again compel these men to kill defenseless civilians. This is something we would like to believe in. The United States is a highly developed country. It even has a conveyor line system for training aggressors. Here is one such conveyor line, Fort Gulick in the Panama Canal Zone. This is the secret training base of the 8th U.S. Special Forces Group. This is the famous School of Americas. Here, on a mass scale, they trained units for guerrilla warfare in Vietnam, and mainly for Latin America. This is where they train the conquistadors of the 20th century, and it is done through ideological indoctrination.
We are at war. It is a very unique and unusual war. It is a war which has required military tacticians to adopt a new and different mode of operation. Because in the unofficial wars, which today are fermenting in parts of South and Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and at least 4 countries in our own hemisphere, we must accept the fact that ideas are more important than bullets. The enemy, our enemy in this war, is more than armed and militant international communism. It is social, economic, and political injustice, which is the breeding ground for communism. As long as people are hungry...
Yes, the trainees of the School of Americas will have ample opportunity to become convinced how correct these words are. The peoples of Latin America will prove to them that the ideas of the national liberation struggle are stronger than bullets, bombs, and napalm. These are the notorious Green Berets, saboteurs and cutthroats, ready to carry out any assignment of the Central Intelligence Agency in any country. The chief task is to get it into the heads of these men that they are carrying out the great mission of struggling against international communism. He has been thoroughly brainwashed. He is a real example of a fighter against communism.
And if you don't fight it there, where are you going to fight it? Here in our own country? We don't want that.
a mock village has been built for training purposes. This is where guerrillas are hiding. The major knows his job. This simulated skirmish is almost like the real thing. Camouflaged guerrillas heaving grenades. They must be interrogated and then, of course, shot. British journalists interviewed the commander of the Green Berets, General Edward Flanagan. He spoke vaguely about some kind of special mission of the Special Forces. However, he admitted proudly it was precisely his men who succeeded in tracking down Ernesto Che Guevara. This took place in the mountains of Bolivia. Professional American intelligence men, colonels and majors, were in charge of the operation. They have long ago become accustomed to bossing around in other people's countries. Not many photographs of Che Guevara have survived. Photographs taken in the guerrilla detachment in the mountains of Bolivia. 50,000 pesos reward will be given to anyone who delivers Che Guevara to the authorities, dead or alive. Better alive. U.S. Army Major Ralph Shelton was commander of the pursuit unit. They captured Che Guevara when he was already wounded in battle. And they killed him. It was with a feeling of profound grief that the communists of the whole world heard the news of the heroic death of Ernesto Che Guevara. A courageous revolutionary, a romanticist, a man of great purity of the soul. His whole life was a selfless struggle for the best ideals of humanity.
La tierra gira y gira, no dejará de girar, y los tiempos van cambiando, nadie lo puede evitar.
Che Guevara fought for the revolution in Latin American countries. He sincerely believed in his methods of struggle. But even where the oppressed peoples triumph using other methods, the name of Che Guevara, a communist and noble fighter for the revolution, is revered and loved by the people.
Nos hablan de democracia, de libertad de expresión, los mismos que masacraron al pueblo trabajador. No se aflijan porque ahora la libertad empezó, la justicia para todos, sin clase ni condición. Mira que ya viene la revolución, para que se asustan será más mejor. Es el pueblo entero el que ya está gritando, ¡viva la revolución! Es el pueblo entero el que ya está gritando, ¡viva la revolución!
These workers have named their settlement in honor of Che Guevara. This is Santiago, the capital of Chile. First of all, the People's Unity Government showed concern for the children. These old buses have been used for improvised schools. Here, besides knowledge, the children receive the famous Chilean half-liter of milk. That was one of the first decrees of the new government. Still, there are very many slums all over the country. When we were shooting these sequences here, we were told that soon these people would move into new homes. This wardrobe will then stand in a modern new apartment with bath and gas. Everybody comes out for a voluntary workday. Even the president himself is here. It can't be said that the president of the republic is a master carpenter, but then Salvador Allende is a physician by profession. We asked him to say a few words for our film.
Deseo, primeramente, expresar que es para mí extraordinariamente grato.
First of all, I want to express my profound satisfaction that Soviet cinematographers have come to visit our country.
Que tengan una gran preocupación por el futuro.
Who are concerned about the future of Chile and Latin America.
De allí que piense la importancia que tendrá.
This therefore points to the significance of your film, which you have called The Blazing Continent.
¿Cómo veo yo?
How do I visualize the future of Chile and Latin America?
Aquí en Chile y por primera vez en la historia, los trabajadores.
Here in Chile, for the first time in its history, the working people have won a government for themselves through their people's parties, through their class parties, and through the parties of petty and middle bourgeoisie, so as to gain power through this government.
A lo largo de América Latina hay una profunda y honda expresión de protesta y de rebelión. Hay que derrotar la violencia que se expresa en la institución.
This power must do away with the brutality which still exists in our state system. We must do away with the bitterness which a mother and father experiences whose child has no roof over its head and who is deprived of medical care. We must do away with the bitterness experienced by a man who looks for a job and cannot find it. We must do away with brutality, which is manifest in chronic malnutrition, in the material and spiritual starvation of millions of Latin Americans. When I looked into the sad eyes of these people, I recalled Salvador Allende's words about the brutality that still existed on the continent. Who are these people? We filmed them in Atacama Desert. They call themselves perqueñeros, prospectors. They live in caves near long deserted mines. They mine copper ore by hand and sell it to small factories. They work in pairs. If one man is buried under, the other can dig him out. In these God-forsaken places, it rains once in 100 years. And so, day in and day out, day after day, an endless fight for life. There are only a few of them left, lone prospectors of the desert, but they exist and keep on trudging with their heavy loads over the scorched earth like tragic phantoms of the past, miserable outcasts. These people, too, are outcasts, outcasts of another sort. These hippies held a rally in Venezuela, trying to escape the bourgeois world. This is an ugly and helpless form of protest. All their mottos vanish with the acrid smoke of pot. There are quite a few of them in Latin America. Some of them become tramps and criminals. Others perhaps give serious thought to their future. Tierra del Fuego, the southernmost tip of Chile, and the southernmost school in the world. Every morning, the children sing the Chilean national anthem. Fathers are oil workers. This oil has always belonged to Chile. They are proud that the U.S. monopolies never did succeed in grabbing Chile's oil. Now they will never get their hands on it. Here, we met brave people with plenty of endurance and stamina, people who are accustomed to grappling with the elements, whale hunters and seal hunters, engineers, sheep farmers, and the monuments here are different too, not conquerors or commanders. They are monuments to the courageous people who brave the cold winds of the plains, shepherds. The very edge of the world, Tierra del Fuego. But why is it called the Fiery Land? Legend has it that when Magellan's ships were passing through the strait, his seamen saw the flickering of mysterious fires on the barren shores. This struck fear and superstition in their hearts. But the fires are burning even today. There are huge deposits of natural gas deep below. The southernmost post office in the world is to be found in the southernmost settlement in the world, Puerto Williams, which is located right on the edge of the world. Further south lies the Antarctic. Just imagine how much a stamp collector would cherish a stamp canceled on the edge of the earth. The settlement is without a church, without a priest. There is only the postal agent who performs marriages, registers deaths and births. We were lucky to film the baptism of the world's southernmost born child, a citizen of Chile. The Strait of Magellan. glaciers are tens of thousands of years old. Even if a man had spent his whole life traveling, I still think he would be captured by the beauty of such scenes as this. The capitals of Latin American countries in this century grew swiftly on the investments of big business. The local bourgeoisie referred to Caracas as Latin America. In the quiet streets of Caracas and Lima, you can see the creations of 17th century architects. They bring to mind the period of rule by the Spanish crown. They seem to carry us to the quiet back streets of Seville and Granada. Corrida, bullfights. This magnificent spectacle, with its medieval rituals, has also been preserved. The greatest event of the year was a gala bullfight in Venezuela, featuring one of the greatest toreros of the century, the Spanish torero Luis Miguel Dominguin. He did not fight bulls for several years, but now he is in the arena once again. That was after he divorced film star Lucia Boza. After becoming his wife, she left the screen, and he quit bullfights. Having parted with Miguel, Lucia returned to the movies, and Dominguin once again picked up his sword. This is a dangerous bull, swift, nervous, and wide-set horns, a worthy opponent for Miguel. The first stage of the fight is to tease the bull and play with him. The torero does not participate in this. He studies the behavior of the beast. The bull charges the picador. And then the matador steps into battle. This could have ended in tragedy, but no wonder they have made legends about Dumb & Green's bravery. The fight continues. The last lunge, the coup de grace. The sword went in right up to the hilt. The bull does not yet know he is dying, but the torero is counting off the last seconds of his life. During those moments, another unforgettable corrida passed before my eyes. Barcelona in August of 1936, the first month of the Civil War in Spain. They raised their clenched fists over their heads as a sign of anti-fascism. As if making a circle of honor, the soldiers of the People's Militia marched to the front lines. Several days later, I filmed them in the trenches of Zaragoza, where pitched battles were being fought those days. Those who did not understand Spain considered those corridas of the war days sheer madness. However, that was the heart and soul of Spain, the triumph of courage, gracefulness, and beauty. We headed to the north of the continent. Of course, we couldn't journey to all the countries of Latin America. But wherever we did shoot films, we tried to portray the present-day features of the continent, its struggle, its wounds, its hopes. I thought about the future of the revolution. Who knows when and where the enemy will strike a retaliating blow in order to retain power over millions of men, women, and children. Every day there was more alarming news. The reactionaries were acting up. And although the times of gunboat diplomacy have gone, the Green Berets are training and getting ready. Naturally, the imperialists will make more than one attempt to stay the wheel of history. And perhaps we felt this most of all at the end of our tour in Panama. Our first encounter with General Omar Torrijos, the head of Panama's government, took place at a farm cooperative. The farmers had invited him to their holiday, marking the anniversary of their cooperative. We thought we would hear a speech by the leader of the country. But there was no ceremonial meeting as we understood it. It was simply a heart-to-heart talk about the farmers' work.
En estos días aquí nos estaban vendiendo creo que 200 reses, vacas de leche en Costa Rica a buen precio.
How much will it cost to buy pedigree cattle from Costa Rica? It wouldn't be bad to start up a coffee plantation. A road has to be built.
¿Por qué no hacemos esas gestiones para que se prestan esas reses aquí? A fin de que ya vayan familiarizándose con eso y en el verano comenzamos a sacar la leche.
¿Dónde están esos candidatos que tengan la capacidad para manejar un ganado de leche de alta producción? Que nosotros estamos deseosos de buscar ese financiamiento, porque ahí tenemos para colocar. Y esta...
Los que quieren préstamo de leche, ganado de leche.
Entonces, aquí está, ya tenemos un lugar a donde pueden ir. No tienen que viajar 10 horas para llegar allá. Y...
Esquivelito, ¿sabe dónde están las vacas? ¿Dónde están las vacas, Esquivelito? La maldita falta de comunicación que nos hizo parar, ¿se acuerda? Que venía de que acusarlo y quedé acusado, porque no había comunicación. Eso es lo que está faltando, comunicación con ellos, que ellos sepan.
General Omar Torrijos is 43 years old. His biography is not a simple one. He went through a training course of guerrilla warfare at the U.S. Fort Gulick. Remember, the Green Beret School in the Panama Canal Zone. They wanted to make a hangman out of him, but the young officer chose another road. He joined his people to work for the country's independence.
De los disparos aquellos, ni males pa' flojo. Hasta que algún día no se algún día sí, no era sujeto a crédito. Para comprar un colchón que me estaba $60 y tuve que seguir durmiendo en tabla. Si me vas a poner un gerente de eso así, como el que me negó el colchón a mí, mejor te llevas al edificio. ¿No es así?
The commissioning of a water supply system is also a big holiday. When he came to power, Omar Torrijos began to carry out a broad agrarian reform. He speaks out boldly against the colonialists. Panama's key problem, and its main wound, is the Panama Canal, a waterway connecting two oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific, passes through the land of Panama. And the canal belongs to the United States, according to a treaty that was signed in 1903. And each article in this treaty emphasizes that the Republic of Panama gives the United States of America a 10-mile zone along the canal route forever. It gives the United States all rights, authority, and all the power in the canal zone forever. The United States has the right at any time and on its own will to employ its armed forces and to build fortresses to protect the canal, railroads, and other installations forever. "70 years have gone by since Panama was forced to sign that treaty. The world has been shaken by wars. Revolutions have taken place. Mankind has entered outer space, but the treaty has not changed. There is a deep wound in the heart of every Panamanian forever. And this wire fence, which separates the Republic of Panama from the American occupation zone, is it also forever? The administration of the Canal Zone allowed the Soviet cameraman to shoot sequences in the Canal Zone and here, where its offices are located. This is a state within a state. It has its own court, its own postal service, its own currency, its own police force. Operation of the canal gives the United States more than $100 million a year, but Panama gets only a 100th part of this sum. These two territories, separated by a wire fence, are neighbors. Magnificent prosperity and tragic poverty. Ironically, this region of the Panamanian poor is called Hollywood. The settlement is built on piles, because in the rainy season, the whole territory turns into an acrid-smelling quagmire. The water supply system that gives the city of Panama water begins in the Canal Zone. Just one turn of the water valve behind that fence and the capital city is left without water. What great power the bosses of the canal wield. They decide the fate of every Panamanian from the day he is born till old age. The Canal Zone has its own governor. He is appointed personally by the President of the United States of America. Two flags fly in front of the Panama Canal Administrative Building. The Panama flag appeared not so long ago, and then only after blood was spilled. This is Kennedy Avenue that runs along the border of Panama and the Canal Zone. But the people of Panama have renamed it. You can see it written on the wall, Avenue de los Marteros, Martyrs Avenue. It happened on January the 9th, 1964. Students of Panama marched to the Canal Zone here. At the border with the American zone, one of the students put up the national flag of Panama on the lamppost. This one. These are the bullet marks. These sequences are now historical newsreel. American soldiers were firing point blank at defenseless students. Result, hundreds of wounded and 22 killed. Five minutes of silence throughout the entire country as a token of protest in memory of the heroes who died. A mother receives the flag that covered her son's coffin. When this fence ceases to exist, the name of the thoroughfare will remain Martyrs Avenue, in all likelihood, forever. Sovereignty in Spanish is soberanía, which is the name of the song that rings out across the square of the Republic's capital. 200,000 people from all parts of the country have converged on the capital for Independence Day celebrations. The population of Panama numbers 1.5 million. Actually, this means that a third of the country's adult population has gathered only a few steps away from the American zone. On that day, the American troops in the zone were at top battle readiness. I watched the people dancing in the square and recalled the words spoken to me last night by General Omar Torrijos. If they don't kill me, I'll do everything to give the people of Panama freedom.
Porque es nuestro el canal de Panamá. Hay que defender la soberanía. Porque es nuestro el canal de Panamá. Hay que defender la soberanía. Porque es nuestro el canal de Panamá.
The watchword here is, we shall never be forced to our knees.
Yo siempre he dicho que no hay pueblo malo.
The head of state, Omar Torrijos, declared, I asked the foreign journalists and diplomats here today to tell me, what nation will bear the humiliation of seeing a foreign flag waving right in the very heart of its country?
Y aquí lo tienen. Que digan nuestros embajadores, que los embajadores de las repúblicas amigas que aquí están presentes.
What nation of America, what nation in the whole world will put up with a foreign governor on their territory? The day will come, and I will tell the people of Panama, the time has come when one generation of Panamanians must go into battle so that other generations will be able to live in a free land.
Gracias, pueblo panameño. Gracias, hombres y mujeres de nuestra patria. Gracias, campesinos. Gracias, estudiantes. Gracias, pueblo panameño, por este llamado, por este respaldo que le has dado a tu revolución. Para todos, señores, para ustedes, pueblo panameño.
People of Panama, I thank you. Men, women, students and peasants, I thank you. Thank you for your confidence in me. Muchas gracias. We shall never be forced to our knees. We shall overcome. These are the words that will be passed on from one generation of freedom fighters to another. There are 300 million people working and struggling on this continent. Perhaps the most trying battles are still ahead. The people of Latin America believe that kindness and the truth will triumph, that love for man and justice will triumph. They believe that the revolution will triumph. Film was made by Roman Karman, Alexander Kochitkov, Viktor Kotov, Dmitry Barshevsky, Olga Trofimova, Alexander Haidt, and others.
No dejará de girar y los tiempos llegando, nadie lo puede evitar. Mira que ya viene la revolución, para que se asustan verá va mejor. Es el pueblo entero el que ya está gritando, ¡viva la revolución! Nos hablan de democracia, de libertad de expresión, los mismos que masacraron al pueblo trabajador. No se aflijan porque ahora la libertad empezó, la justicia para todos, sin clase ni condición. Mira que ya viene la revolución, para que se asustan será pa' mejor. Es el pueblo entero el que ya está gritando, ¡viva la revolución! Soldado, tú eres el pueblo es tu superior. Por eso juntos haremos triunfar la revolución. Mira que ya viene la revolución, para que se asustan será pa' mejor. Es el pueblo entero el que ya está gritando, ¡viva la revolución! Es el pueblo entero el